This happened to me when I was a child. I'm 32 now and I still have nightmares to this day. My mom and dad took me to the mall to take pictures with the Easter Bunny, and also to be a part of an Easter egg hunt when I was 10. Since I placed in the top 10, I was allowed to spend some time with the Easter Bunny that was at the mall. And because I was in the top 3, I got 30 minutes to do whatever I wanted with the bunny. I got third, so I was told to come back after my parents got a text that it was my time, and when I was next, my dad and I sat at the food court and ate some food while my mom went shopping. When my dad got the text, we walked back to the area and the bunny asked if I wanted to go alone or with my dad. I was a shy kid, but the person persuaded me to go alone and I did just that. The bunny said I was the first child to agree to go alone that day. My dad waited back at the egg hunt while we walked around. This particular mall had game rooms and a Ferris wheel inside, so we had a lot of fun stuff to do. I asked to go to the Ferris wheel, but the person told me after I finished what was in the game room. This game room was a maze and he told me to go one way while he went another. We split up and after a few minutes I got lost. I began panicking and ran through it to find my way out. The lights started flickering, which made it scarier than it was. As I continued walking to find a way out, I saw blood spatter and footprints leading up to the families that were in first and second place. That's when I was grabbed by the 2 kids that were in first and second, and they told me they couldn't get out either and their parents were dead. We heard footsteps running towards us and we all ran in different directions. One of the kids went with me while the others went by themselves. All I could hear was deranged laughter and footsteps sounding like it was coming from multiple directions. The kid and I were able to make our way out and we both ran to my dad and told him everything. The workers claimed they didn't know what was going on and the police found a lot of kids that were previously missing. Some kids that went missing many years before were in that maze. Some of their parents met the same fate as the others, but some kids went back to their families. The kid who got separated from us was found too. The Easter Bunny was found dead with a stab wound. No one knows who did it. Some rumors were spread that he did it and other rumors were that a parent did it. But either way, he can never hurt anyone again. As a kid, Easter was my favorite holiday. I grew up in a big family, so all 6 of my siblings and I would go to the town's carnival every Easter, which was kid-led by the biggest school in town. The school taught kinder to seniors, so it was a huge event every year. I was 7 years old and the youngest of my family. I was also 6 years younger than all my siblings, so the older siblings would take the younger ones around the carnival while I was stuck with my parents. The carnival consisted of Easter egg hunts, roller coasters, a petting zoo, and the normal carnival games. Since Easter was my favorite holiday, I couldn't leave without playing the Easter egg hunt. It was only for kids 10 and under, so they allowed parents to help the kids play. While my parents and I were playing, we were finding the most eggs out of everyone. We ended up winning 3 times, and because I had the unlimited pass at the carnival, I could play as long as I wanted. Another family with a child that looked 5 years old was upset that we were constantly winning. When their child started crying, they complained to the workers that I was cheating. They told the woman and man that they were watching and didn't see any cheating. My parents explained to the couple that this round would be our last, so everyone else could get a chance. During the last round, the kid was coming after every egg I would find and try to take it from me while screaming and crying. I would tell the child to stop and that it was my egg. The parents were ignoring their kid until the last few minutes of the game. They would run to an egg before I could make it. They would also make comments about me and how I look. My parents told me to ignore it. They ignored it as well until the dad of the kid pushed me out of the way to get an egg. My dad yelled at him and threw all the plastic eggs at him and his daughter. They both got close up to each other's face, making threats to beat each other up. The workers kicked all of us out and didn't allow me to get a gift for my winnings. My mom told my dad to drop it and to find my siblings and go home since it was late. My dad called the oldest and told everyone to meet us at the car. While walking through the carnival, we stopped a couple of times to quickly play some games to win prizes, since I didn't get any at the Easter egg hunt. My mom noticed very soon that the family was following us. We didn't let that stop us though and played a few more games. They followed us to each one and didn't play any games but only watched us. The last game we were at, my dad confronted them and told them to stop following us and threatened to call the police. They denied following us and walked in a different direction. Our parking spot was far from the exit, so my siblings waited there and we all began walking back to the car. One of my brothers whispered to all of us that 2 people seemed to be following us. Once I looked back, I saw that it was the same couple from earlier. The mom was holding their daughter and the dad was holding what looked like a bat in his hand. My dad told all of us to run to the car and we did. When we started running, the man ran after us. A lot of us ran in different directions, and I ran off to hide in between cars. I hid there for a few moments until I heard my dad yell my name. When I ran out to see where he was, the man ran up to me and swung the bat in my direction. I was able to dodge and run back to the carnival. I told the first worker I saw. But because they didn't want the carnival shut down, they didn't call the police and just walked into the parking lot with me to find my parents. The worker called security and they walked me back to the car. My mom was there with some of my siblings, and a few security guards searched for the rest of my family. Once everyone was found, they claimed they searched the whole parking lot and didn't find anyone. They were long gone then. When I was younger, my dad would take my siblings and me to an Easter scavenger hunt at one of the town's churches that would host an event for Easter, and almost every parent and kid would show up to this thing. I was 12 years old at the time, and my little siblings Greg, who was 9, and Cynthia, who was 6. I would always have to watch after Greg while my dad would be with Cynthia. Greg and I would participate in the scavenger hunt, but then would play hide and seek in the other rooms. The church was really big with a lower level that had multiple rooms, and that's where we would play hide and seek. Since I was getting older, I didn't care to play hide and seek anymore, but for Greg I did. He and I went to the lower level of the church with a couple of other kids who were around Greg's age. It was dark and we all agreed on keeping the lights off to make it more fun. I told them to hide and I put a timer on my phone and gave them 3 minutes. While I was waiting to search, my dad texted me to come and help Cynthia with the rest of the scavenger hunt since he couldn't. I thought it would just be a few minutes, and by the time I finished with Cynthia, it'd be 3 minutes. I decided to leave my phone on a table down there and I went back upstairs to help with Cynthia. After I helped her, food was served and we sat and ate with all the other kids. I was having so much fun that I forgot that I left my phone and Greg with the others, downstairs. It was almost an hour later when I realized, and I ran downstairs and yelled out for Greg. No one responded, so I figured they all went back upstairs, and I grabbed my phone to head back. I made it halfway up the stairs when I heard shuffling in one of the rooms. I believed it was one of the children and that he or she didn't go back upstairs, so I went into the room and shouted, "Ready or not, here I come." My eyes broadened when I saw a tall man come from behind a piano and walk right up to me. He looked like a homeless person with dirty clothes and long black hair that covered most of his face. He kneeled with a frown and screamed in my face, saying I found him. I tried running away, but he grabbed my arm and began dragging me towards an emergency exit. I kicked him in his legs until he let go. I was able to make it up the steps and yell out for my dad. Everyone in the church looked at me as I was hysterically screaming that it was a man in the basement of the church trying to kidnap me. A group of men went into the basement to check it out but couldn't find anyone but my brother and 3 other little kids. They were all still hiding in a different room. No one believed me until they found those 4, and they were able to confirm that it was a man in the basement. After a search throughout the church by churchgoers and police, no one could find him. Greg and I never went back to that church for Easter ever again.